Adrian McRae, thank you very much for joining us on Channel Vision today.
No problem, Steve.
Adrian, let's start off. Tell us the fundamentals of Wings of Kilimanjaro. What's it all about?
Well, it's Kilimanjaro, Wings of Kilimanjaro. It's an adventure for a group of like-minded people that we're all looking to do something exciting and something that most people never had the opportunity to do before, and make a big difference to hopefully a lot of people's lives in the process. So yeah, we're a group of us are getting together to paraglide and hang glide off Mount Kilimanjaro, and in the process raise a substantial amount of money for charities in Tanzania.
Adrian, you're the founder of Wings of Kilimanjaro. What inspired you to come up with this idea in the first place?
Having travelled extensively through Eastern Africa many times over the years, and having seen some of the not so fortunate people as ourselves all over that area of the world, I just saw an opportunity to combine something that I love to do and many of my friends love to do with helping a large number of people in these communities. So it really came down to how we could make it work, and we approached the Tanzanian government and asked them if they allowed us to raise a substantial amount of money for charities in those countries, would they allow us to have a one-off event of flying from Kilimanjaro, and they approved it, so it was very exciting.
So of all the peaks in the world that you could have chosen, why Kilimanjaro in particular?
Kilimanjaro it's a bit of a mythical. It has an aura about it that people all over the world have heard of Kilimanjaro. It's a accessible mountain for most people, whether or not you're a mountaineer or you're not. I've climbed Kilimanjaro in the past, and I'm certainly not a mountaineer by any stretch of the imagination. But it's something that I think it's, having been on the summit and having flown from various hills around the world, I think it was just a flyable peak, and having not been allowed to fly that peak before, I saw an opportunity there that we could raise a substantial amount of money and help out a lot of people in the process.
Okay, so besides just paragliding off, you're going world record status, you're talking 200.
Yeah, look, it was
200
jumpers. It's logistically, it's something that's, I don't think 200 people have ever climbed Kilimanjaro in one group before. So logistically, that in itself will be a huge undertaking. But the 200 number was something that I came up with the Tanzanian authorities themselves to raise $1 million. Realistically, I thought it wouldn't be so hard to get 200 people to raise $5,000. Each of the pilots has to raise $5,000 each, just for charity, before they're allowed to come to the mountain. After that, they still have their cost of climbing the mountain, which is still quite expensive, of flying from whichever part of the world they come to or come from, and then climb the mountain with us. So it's an expensive undertaking for everyone involved. But I just believed from the start that 200 would be a number that I could get of pilots around the world, because it's such a mountain that has got such pull to it. There's 25,000 people attempt to climb Kilimanjaro every year just hiking, and so it's a big tourist destination or a tourist pilgrimage for a lot of people. A lot of people have dreamed, and having that natural pull of Kilimanjaro itself, being one of the 7 summits, it's very well marketed. It's a big part of Eastern Africa, and most people would know it as the highest point in Africa, and so it's just got a very famous name, a very famous personality about the hill.
Certainly does. Now, you mentioned about the logistics with 200 pilots, but we're not just talking 200 pilots, are we? We're talking support crews, we're talking spectators, all up. What kind of figure of people are we looking at here?
Spectators will be fairly limited, but just between porters, cooks, guides, film crew, safety, medics on the mountain, we expect somewhere in the vicinity of 1,500 people climbing the mountain with us. Yeah, it's quite it's hard to get my head around sometimes. I sometimes think, what have I done?
Okay, let's have a look at those, the two major charities that are on board already. Let's talk about them individually. Plant with Purpose.
Plant with Purpose is a charity that's active on the ground in Tanzania. They're based out of San Diego in California, and they do some fantastic work, tree planting, educating rural communities, in particular farmers, to plant trees, and using those trees and the basically environmental restoration as for economic advantage. They do a lot of savings and loans groups amongst rural communities to help with small businesses in the rural communities, which also then encourages those same rural groups to go back into planting more trees. And so, just say for example, a price of a cup of coffee, that amount of money in a donation will actually plant 5 trees in Tanzania. So that alone, in just the number of trees planting in Tanzania, I think that that was pretty exciting for us, and the fact that they're very active already in Tanzania, that certainly made them very attractive to us. So they were one of the ones that we approached about this time last year.
So, and now the other one is the One Foundation. What's their story, their involvement with Wings at Kilimanjaro?
The One Foundation, a really exciting charity. They do a lot of work all over Africa. They haven't done so much work in Tanzania just as of yet, but they're based in the UK, and a guy called Duncan Goose, who set One Foundation up years ago, he was travelling in Africa and came up with some ideas to get water pumps built in communities that wouldn't otherwise have access to running water.
Over 13 million people were affected by the worst drought in 60 years. 100,000 people died. We got a phone call one Sunday morning, and on that morning we made a pledge to have £1 million on the ground in East Africa within 4 days. It was something that we managed to achieve and went on to change the lives of 250,000 people by not only trucking in clean water supplies for immediate relief, but also digging down and installing long-term water solutions for wider communities.
They also, they've now set up a foundation, which is actually one of the first companies in the world where 100% of the company's profits go to directly back into charity. And so you'll see One Water in stores such as Woolworths in Australia now, and every bottle of water you buy from One, with the One brand or from the One Foundation, gives a bottle of clean water to someone that wouldn't otherwise have access to that. The Australian part of One Foundation or the One brand goes to Southeast Asia, whereas the European or the British One brand all goes into Africa. So yeah, they're just an exciting clean water charity, plus they also do things in education, health. Their scope is massive, so they're really exciting for us to be involved with.
Now Peter, you're an expert pilot, you have thousands of hours experience behind you. Logistically, from a pilot's point of view, what kind of a project is this? How hard is it and what's involved?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the just the amount of pilots that there's going to be, and the climb to just shy of 6,000 metres. It's huge logistics, and the biggest emphasis is it's a big emphasis on safety right from the word go. We've been doing a lot of spending a lot of time going over weather records and just ensuring that the time that's been chosen is a good, reliable time, and really looking forward to the whole the whole project. It's amazing.
So there's a few steps obviously leading up to February next year. I believe in July this year you're going to climb Have you climbed Kilimanjaro?
No,
before?
I've never climbed it before, and really looking forward to. Yeah, we're going over there in July, and that's just checking out, just sorting out all of the logistics behind it, and checking on takeoff areas, landing areas, and the best route up the mountain, and just all that entails. It's a lot of work.
What requirements are necessary for pilots to be able to register to be part of the Wings of Kilimanjaro project?
Well, part of our registration process, we asked the pilots firstly about mountaineering experience. Now, I climbed Kilimanjaro in the past with zero mountaineering experience, but there certainly took a fair degree of training and exercise and knowledge of the mountain before going there. But pilots, we also want to have at least a few years experience. We've set a minimum of 150 hours flying time, which would involve literally hundreds and hundreds of takeoffs and landings. And I mean, we get a lot of applications from some fairly inexperienced pilots or people that haven't, or just beginning to learn. And we've set some very strict requirements on those people. Unless they come up with the base requirements, then they won't be able to come. I mean, jumping off a mountain at 6,000 metres is that with a unregistered launch site is not a responsibility that we want to be taking on our hands. That it's a risk-reward event. We certainly want everyone to have a good time, but number one focus for the whole event is obviously safety. I can't imagine should someone hurt themselves up there.
Having another look at the pilot situation, now there's solo pilots, but I understand also you can tandem pilot. What's the scenario across the board for piloting from Kilimanjaro?
We have a number of pilots of all experience levels, from very experienced to professional tandem pilots. Now, a lot of the professional tandem pilots have offered their tandem passenger seats to help us raise not just awareness, but using them for publicity and also using them to raise more money. So we actually have quite a few number of seats available that we are selling to the public. They can find those seats on our website, Wings of Kilimanjaro, or we have that will be auctioned through the year through various media outlets. So it's pretty exciting for those people that want to get involved. There's opportunities for people to come and fly as a passenger from Kilimanjaro.
Now, Adrian, if anyone wants to find out more information about Wings of Kilimanjaro, maybe they're a pilot and want to see if they can register, or whether it's just someone who wants to donate to the whole cause, where's the best place for people to go?
Well, we have a website, www.wingsofkilimanjaro.com. We have a new Facebook site that is slowly starting to garner a bit of interest. But basically, the best spot would be on wingsofkilimanjaro.com.
Excellent. Well, Adrian, we're certainly going to be following your exploits right up until after it's done. So right from this early stage, all the very best with it. Very exciting project, and thanks for joining us on the channel.
Thank you, Stephen.